There's a semifinals game in GP Giza. Looks like we have Test on Sultai Heart Attack up against CanterburyEgg, who's on Izzet Dragons. This is a decent hand for Egg, other than the fact that there's only one land, and Marcus Devonport hasn't really been the best card for them, as they mentioned. Probably, yeah, Test technically going second, and there was a situation that happened where someone accidentally made their choice when they were going second first and it screwed up something else. And I commentated on that game actually, so if I think I did at least. CanterburyEgg mulligans, draws a new hand. This is, you got two lands, you still have a nice one drop, and Scourge of the Mountains is, just a good card, along with Honest Dragon Caller being able to search up Prince of Stars, or I forget its name, the 3-mana dragon that cost reduces all your other dragons by 2 red, but only for the first one. It going first, probably just going to be Dragon's Breath Throat Singer to, get that card selection and also just have a nice threat on the board on turn 1, which is especially nice against a control deck like Heart Attack. Test has Pithwilt as some nice removal for some of Egg's threats, like this Throat Singer here. Prying Inquiry is discard. Intrepid is a really good blocker, and it also finds your heart. Biohazard can just be a board clear, and Skate Around's another way to find heart, but will also function as removal or a win con further in the late game. Probably finds a different land, though I'm not sure which one. It draws another Throat Singer. This probably just is Dragon Caller, though maybe it's tapped Magmatic Torrent and Throat Singer. It's probably better just to use all your mana. Yep, looks like it's going to be Dragon Caller. Search for... I wonder what you get, because maybe if Polyp Pools is in the deck, you get that just for your extra land. I think Polyp Pools is in the deck. I could be wrong. Yep, Kamada, that's the dragon I mentioned that cost reduces your first dragon each turn by 2. Now all Egg needs to do is draw land, and with these Throat Singers, should be pretty easy to at least to either draw next turn or the turn after, if you really want it next turn. Test draws Portal Fracture, probably just Prying Inquiry to get rid of that Kamada or holding up Pithwilt. Yep, looks like Prying Inquiry. Prying Inquiry, I think, just takes Kamada. Maybe Dragon's Breath Throat Singer if Test wants to try and mana screw Egg, but that's probably not going to happen with this Throat Singer already on board. Even if there's a Pithwilt, that's still 2 cards of Dig. Test decides to actually take Scourge of the Mountain, which is actually a really useful card for Egg. It's just a nice threat against control, especially with this backside. It's harder to deal with, though. And it's also, not counterable. And there's Prince of Stars, which Egg doesn't have the mana, but if you get this down and it sticks around for 1 turn, you pretty much just win because of just the ridiculous amount of value you get with it, especially with like a cost reducer like Kamada or Neoga Dragon Soul. Egg attacks for 2. Test is already down to 14. Looks like another Dragon's Breath Throat Singer. Probably looking to use these 2 to dig for more land. But I think it was actually right to attack there instead of digging for land, because you're not going to do anything with the lands this turn. And also, you really want to put the pressure on Test, because if Test gets too far into the late game, you just pretty much lose to the huge amount of mana advantage Heart gives. And also, obviously, a land can be drawn naturally. There's a Scorch, so if Intrepid does actually end up blocking one of the smaller Throat Singers in the future, Scorch can get rid of it. Though not if Intrepid ends up attacking, because it won't be a creature by that point. No lands for Egg here, that's pretty rough. Probably, just dig for another one. Probably discarding Prince of Stars. Maybe Ash. Maybe even Scorch. Probably not Scorch, though, because that is a card you can play. It's not only maybe removal for, looks like just discarding the most expensive card in their hand that they're probably not going to play. Draws Shikai's Readout, which is a land, albeit a colorless one. There's not really much Grave Hate that Egg needs, so it's probably just going to get played as a colorless land. And then next turn, Kamada. Maybe Ash? Probably not, though. Probably just Kamada. It reduces them by so much. So that if you ever... And then, maybe even... The thing is, if you play Kamada, there's no other dragons to be cost reduced, but Ash does actually cost reduce Kamada, and But another thing with Ash is Egg doesn't have any dragons on board right now. Omnis Dragon Caller doesn't become a dragon, it's just a human shaman that searches up a dragon. Test is up to 4 lands. Probably just plays Corrupted Memory, removes the non-creature restriction. Maybe not. Reconsider and Pithwell and Portal Fracture can be left up, though double counterspell won't happen because there's only 1 blue mana from this Flooded Morass. But 1 counterspell will be enough. Okay, it looks like Biohazard, X equals 1 to clear Egg's board. Biohazard also will start just hitting Egg for 1 or 2 damage every turn. It's just a win con for Test, even with this Intrepid. Another way for Test to just win, grind out Egg. There's another Prince of Stars, not very useful when you only have 3 lands. Well, it will be useful if Kamada lands, but this Pithwell makes it seem like Kamada will not be surviving for long. Probably just has to be Kamada because otherwise you aren't playing much. Yep. And Kamada also has haste to immediately attack and get Test all the way down to 8. And then Egg will end up losing 2 here because of Biohazard. Mastery of the Veil is another big X spell for Test to play off Heart. And this also it'll kill Egg if Test ever gets to 7 mana. Because Biohazard I'm sure will deal 3 damage. And Test is still 3 turns away from getting to 7. Test just leaving up a counterspell, passes back to Egg. This isn't looking very good for Egg. There's another Throat Singer. Probably just Ash here. Ash will get counterspell. Whatever Egg does will just get counterspelled. I guess you can go Scorch and Throat Singer to just threaten lethal. That is actually probably the best play. Go Throat Singer, hope Test counters that, and then Scorch them. Or maybe the other way around. Maybe you activate Throat Singer, discard Prince of Stars. Just really hope for a red source and play Scorch. Yeah, it looks like... Oh wait, you can't activate it. No haste. That's my fault. Egg takes 2 damage off Biohazard. Test draws a land, it looks like. Flood Depths, that's still pretty good because now you can go Intrepid, Fetch, or just, yeah, I guess a tap land also works. Test probably just trying to play it slow, not take damage. Yeah, probably actually not worth it to shock in at 5. Afraid of Scorch, most likely. There's Intrepid, which shuts down a majority of Egg's attackers. And also gets Heart for Test to... If I'm counting right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, Test wins next turn with this Mastery of the Veil. Unless Egg does something. But I'm not sure what Egg can even do to prevent Test from winning here. Intrepid blocks Throat Singer, meaning that Egg can't get Test down to 3 to kill Scorch. So, it's probably just... I'm not even sure what Egg does, because just drawing that card gets them down to 10 within Mastery of the Veil range, and this Heart taps for 6, so Mastery of the Veil could be cast for a bigger amount anyway. Test fetches an island, fetches plays Hardest. Fetches an island, plays Hardest Zedina, and it just looks like a big Mastery of the Veil now. Because 6 differently named lands means 6 off Heart plus 2 extra, that's 8 mana. That's lethal off Mastery of the Veil. Test is, making sure that, Mastery of the Veil, X equals 6, each opponent loses 2 life. Test wins. Egg has some counterspell hate in their sideboard, but it's probably not worth it to bring in against Test. Probably might actually want to bring in some artifact enchantment hate to get rid of Test's main win cons, those being Intrepid, Gate of Realms, and Biohazard. Obviously, you still have Heart plus Master of the Veil, but having that as Test's only win con is a lot easier to deal with than not only win con, but because if obviously you can just not draw your hate cards, but you get the idea. Okay. It looks like Egg is ready. Test is still sideboarding. Okay, the game started. Okay, Egg is playing. This is just double Scorch is good against Test, but it's maybe not worth it without some more aggressive creatures. There's Exont, Sinkhole, Portal Fracture from Test. More controlling tools to, Exont can just get rid of X creatures. Portal Fracture and Sinkhole obviously counter spells. RFE can just ramp Test up. Looks like Ash is getting swapped for Scorch. So, yep, just turn 1, Spined Spire, which is probably going to be pretty annoying for Test as a creature land. So there's this Exont to remove it. Test plays Wayfarer Shrine, pass, leaves up Sinkhole and Exont. So it can just not tap out, but there's not anything it can play anyway, so won't matter too much. But if it goes for Ash next turn to try and curve into Prince of Stars, Test will have a Sinkhole or a Portal Fracture or a Reconsider for it. The danger of playing that counter spell is then you don't have RFE for next turn. Though maybe you don't even want to RFE because you want to just keep counterspelling Egg and not letting them get anything at all. Or if Egg plays Ash, it could just be Exont. Wayfarer Shrine can still fetch the green for RFE next turn. Maybe it's even Ominous Dragon Color into Scourge of the Mountains. Egg plays a mountain. Yeah, this is because you know that Test probably has a counterspell, or an Exont, or a Pithwilt, just some kind of removal, so you want to play the thing that you want to get countered. And Test, I don't think, wants to counter this, because then Test gets cut off from RFing next turn, or just green mana in general for now. Egg fetches Kamada, which is just the best dragon. Next turn can either be Kamada try and set up, Ash also try and set up Scourge of the Mountain, or Scourge of the Mountains to try and just get some aggression. Test fetches with Wayfarer Shrine, it looks like. Looks like Test is going to play RFE. Yep. There's Monument of Queens, which is going to be quite annoying for Egg. However, neither Kamada nor Ash get Sinkholed. And Egg probably knows that Test could have Sinkhole up, and Kamada's just the better play anyway. It does get Exonted, though. That's the one thing about Kamada. And then, obviously, if Test doesn't want a Sinkhole, they can just fetch it and Exont, and that's probably what's going to happen. Yep, looks like Test is going to Exont. Yeah, Test is having, a bit of a tough time at the menus, and I mean, this happens to everyone. You try and fetch, you accidentally drag it to the top, you start dragging it, and Cockatrice doesn't let you put it back for some reason, because, it's Cockatrice, who knows why, I don't know. Maybe there is a way in, Test, and I just don't know, Test Egg, and it is something annoying, so that when you drag a card from your deck back into your deck, it just stays, it goes face down instead of staying face up. There's Prying Inquiry from Test. Probably takes Scourge or Prince of Stars. Yep, takes Prince of Stars. Test has just so many counter spells in hand. And also still Pithwilt to deal with non-land permanents like Act. Has passes back to Egg. Untaps. Draws a Blizzard, which can lock down Test's mana. So Test probably just ends up sacrificing the clue, since Blizzard Dragon is required to hit artifact, creature, and land. Though once the clue's gone, and if Test doesn't have a creature, that Blizzard Dragon can get annoying, forcing you to sacrifice lands. This plays out Ash, looks like Pithwilt hits Ash. Next turn there's Scourge of the Mountains or Blizzard Dragon. So, Scourge of the Mountains transforms into Scale Bearer. Scale Bearer. Enchant creature control gets +4/+3 and has flying and haste, so guess the stats of Scourge of the Mountains. And when it attacks, you may pay 3. If you do, you deal damage equal to power to target creature or planeswalker. So just some extra removal. Scourge of the Mountains does a lot in Egg's deck, and just buff up a creature and remove other things. There's another Kamada. That's probably... Kamada will not get countered here, because Test only has 1 blue mana, and Portal Fracture only hits stuff with mana value 2 or less. Oh, Sinkhole can go for X equals 3. Or, sorry, X equals 2, 3 colors. Yeah, Sinkhole is an answer, actually. There's another Portal Fracture from Test. Delve for Treasures can just be an end step. Draw 3, if need be. Egg draws another land. Just makes it harder for Test to counter their spells. Probably just ends up fetching. I don't know what lands. Tries playing Scourge of the Test will probably sinkhole it. Egg tried to shock Test's life total. That's Yep, Test probably sinkholing X equals 2. Well, technically X equals 1, but you're spending 2 mana on X's, and the sinkhole X equals 2 would be the 5-color sinkhole. Okay, yeah, just a bunch of counter spells and delve for treasures on Test's side. Egg just gets another Frostfire Geysers. Test untaps, draws, Egg untaps, draws. Moment of Tranquility can counter either Test's delve for treasures or a counterspell. The counterspell doesn't hit Scourge anyway. Monument of Queens can block the Scourge of the Mountains, which means Test will actually end up gaining life off this attack. Okay, looks like Test might be delving for treasures. X equals 2. X equals... Looking for an X hunt, looks like X equals 3. But this does mean Egg does have Moment of Tranquility to counter that delve for treasures, which means Test will be taking 4, because they didn't use the Monument of Queens. Test really needs to look for an Exunt, or not even Pithwelt works, because I guess if Test goes Reconsider into Pithwelt, that is 4 colors of spells. Yep. Egg draws a Prince of Stars. That does not dodge the Reconsiders or Portal Fractures. Neither does Scorch, because Portal Fracture does become a hard counter for things with 2 or less. If you have Wanderlust, which Test definitely does. Monument of Queens can also block Scourge of the Mountains, which means Egg won't be getting any damage through. I'm going to try to play Prince of Stars, it looks like, which actually does get them a Cascade, so it's not worthless. It's just not you. Scourge of the Mountains is a really good hit for Prince of Stars. I think Test has to just counter Prince of Stars, and Scourge of the Mountains is just going to be annoying. Maybe Test actually lets the Prince resolve, knowing that Egg has a Scorch in hand. I'm pretty sure Test knows from the Prying Inquiry. Yeah, Reconsider hits Scourge, which might seem odd, because you'd think that Test knows that Prince of Stars, right, is just so good and it makes all of that spells cascade. Obviously Test knows that, but in this situation, oddly, you don't actually want to counter the Prince of Stars. Test grows Monument of Queens. Test fetching to thin their deck. There's a Gate of Realms. Test is currently at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 differently named lands. The activated ability costs 4 mana. Test does have enough to kill the Scourge of the Mountains right now. Yep, there's Gate of Realms. Searches up Heart of Zadina. And Heart of Zadina actually makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hearts makes 7, which isn't enough for Test to still be able to fire up Monument of Queens twice and block to kill Scourge of the Mountains. Oh wow, Monument of Queens also has First Strike. Actually, it is, because what Test can do is block with Heart as a 1-1, and then before damage is dealt, tap the Heart and Heart of Zadina, tap the Monument of Queens, Heart of Zadina, makes 7, and then you still have 1 extra from Flood Morass, Monument of Queens. So Test can First Strike kill the Scourge of the Mountains if Egg decides to attack. Redoubt isn't a good draw for Egg, so it just looks like casting this Ominous Dragon Caller, taking it off the adventure, or actually activating the creature land. I guess that is something. That actually probably pushes more damage, because Spire, I guess it does get hit by Gate of Realms, but it doesn't get blocked by Monument of Queens. Egg full swings. Looks like, I'm not sure if Test decides to Monument of Queens and also Gate of Realms. So notably, Test cannot grow the Monument of Queens to 3 here, because if Test had blocked and then activated Heart before damage, Test would have been able to, block with the Monument of Queens, tap it for mana, and use that mana for Heart, bringing him up to 8 mana to kill the Scourge, but maybe it's just more worth it to kill Gate of Realms. To use Gate of Realms, but also notably, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. So Gate of Realms is only 3 mana, which means Test can Gate of Realms, kill Scourge, and then Monument of Queens block Prince of Stars, which just negates all the damage Egg would deal. However, it does let Egg Yeah, it does mean the monument dies, which is pretty bad for Test. But this Gate of Realms is still going to just keep shooting down Egg's creatures if Egg does nothing about it. Even this Dragon Caller is only going to be a 3/3 when it is cast off Adventure like Egg just did. Well, a 4/3, but both of those died to Gate of Realms. There's Stand Unassailable, which can be cast for normal cost and Coalesce. I think that just wins Test the game, just coalescing it out. Because this is 9 mana, Heart taps for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you pay 3 Heart, you get 6 green, and then you have 1 and then 2 extra. Yeah, exactly enough to gain 14 life and get a 6/4. I think that's just the best play for Test, because what can Egg even do that does anything to them after they get 14 life? 6 green, 2 for normal Stand Unassailable, and then 4 and 3 makes Coalesce Stand Unassailable. So Test is winning. It's probably going to actually be a Heart Attack. Well, I'm just saying probably because if Test wins this game, which is very likely, with them getting 14 life all the way above their starting life total, also Gate of Realmsing. Okay, Test decides to just save the Coalesce for next turn, Gate of Realms, play it safe, which isn't bad. It's not like it's the wrong play. Imperial Siege hits Heart. That damages Test's mana quite a bit. Though, it does just get Portal Fractured, actually. So Test probably was right to play it safe, because Test really, really wants to keep Heart. And now that Imperial Siege gets Portal Fractured, Egg can Scorch, but Test will just be at such a high life total that it won't matter. Looks like fires up a creature land, attacks for 6. Test is down to 9, but Stand Unassailable can get him back all the way up to 13. And also lets him still leave up Gate of Realms. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, it does not let them leave up Gate of Realms unless they draw another land. Prying Inquiry is good. Looks like Test is thinking. So what can Test do? Obviously just Coalesce the Stand Unassailable. Also RFP, but RFP doesn't have flying, so it won't actually be able to block Princess Stars, and the creature land has menace. So RFE probably isn't the right play for Test. There's Stand Unassailable to gain 10 life, stay alive another turn, to then be able to Gate of Realms the creature land. Then there's the play of Prying Inquiry, take the Scorch, creature land, Gate of Realms the creature land, and you take 5, and then next turn, Stand Unassailable, which is, in my opinion, is probably the right play. Though I am not Test, I'm not a Heart Attack player, I'm not the person who helped design this deck. Test and Splashcat made this deck together, if anyone was wondering. At least I think so, based on what I've heard. If either of them wants to let me know in the comments of this, sure. Looks like Test is going to use Heart. Probably goes for, maybe not using Heart, maybe going for the Prying Inquiry play. Yeah, this looks like Prying Inquiry, so yeah, Test is going for the play I suggested. Prying Inquiry, leave up Gate of Realms, kill the creature land, take 4 off Princess Stars, and then next turn Coalesce Stand Unassailable. Though Egg probably just doesn't fire up the creature land with Gate of Realms, which just means for Test needs to kind of just hold out until they draw an untapped land, which is also more likely with this clue that's been created. So if Test ever just draws another land with a different name, it's enough for Gate of Realms to be cheaper, and also Heart makes another mana. So Test will definitely be in the clear for being able to both Coalesce and just pretty much... Okay, that Scorch sets Test's life to 1. Scorch plus Princess Stars puts Test's life down, all the way down to 1. But the Spire can't attack, because Test left up Gate of Realms, though obviously Coalescing Stand Unassailable also saves them. This goes down to 4. Egg can. Yeah, Egg just chooses not to Scorch. Test makes blue mana with Heart. Looks like they're going to reconsider. Probably just crack the clue, draw, reconsider, draw. Maybe Gate of Realms, Egg's fate. Looks like just cracking the clue. There's Grim Bastion, which does mean Test will have enough to Coalesce Stand Unassailable and leave up Gate of Realms. So it looks like we probably have Test in Test in the final. And there's also Intrepid to block Princess Stars. Yeah, it looks like Test is in the clear, and I don't think Egg can win, especially after that Intrepid draw, because before it could, Stand Unassailable, all it does is delay, right? But now with that Intrepid, it can start blocking the Princess Stars. So Test probably wins this, though things can happen. This is Magic the Gathering after all. I'm not sure if Test just plays Intrepid to just, turn off the Princess Stars, and then also coalesces stand unassailable, because right now, if Egg draws another Scorch, Test just dies. Yeah, looks like stand unassailable is getting coalesced. Probably better to play the Grim Bastion out tapped first, even extra mana off heart, which would also let you play Intrepid if Test wanted to. Test just passes after playing stand unassailable. Boiling Ridge is a cycling land for Egg, which is probably the best land to draw in this situation. Portal Fracture counters the Scorch, and also that 2 mana is Gate of Realms mana to kill the Spine Spire. Egg cycles, draws another land, pretty unlucky. This is probably just attack with Princess Stars, pass. Test can then Gate of Realms to Egg's face. Maybe you don't even attack with Princess Stars, because then you're dead to Gate of Realms and stand unassailable attacking. Fires up Spine Spirit. This is going to force Test to kill the Spine Spirit with Gate of Realms, which does... Okay, Test just... Yeah, it looks like Test sees the way to get lethal with stand unassailable and Gate of Realms, which I didn't see, and now that I see it, it makes a lot more sense. Okay, maybe... Wait, am I counting the lands wrong? Oh wait, Test didn't play Grim Bastion. Interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4... Yeah, because how I was counting it is Heart would make enough mana for Coalesce, and then you still have 3 mana, so maybe Test already played a land that turn? I'm not even sure. Okay, Intrepid just stonewalls the Princess Stars, and Test also can use Gate of Realms to kill the Spine Spire. So Test is probably safe for now, unless Egg draws another Scorch, and they don't Portal Fracture up. This is probably just Murmuring Falls, yeah, which makes Heart now make 7 mana. Test probably just passes here, maybe fires off the Prying Inquiry. Prying Inquiry will take Scorch. Stand unassailable attacks for 6, which means Gate of Realms has Egg dead in 2 turns, and Intrepid also kills fast. Which also means Egg needs to have a blocker for the stand unassailable, unless Egg just kills Test by, I don't know, somehow killing the Intrepid, which is possible. Somehow killing the Intrepid is something mana value 3 or greater, so it doesn't get Portal Fractured. I don't think Egg has anything like that. Egg just draws a Throat Singer. Not really the best in the very late game, though it still does act as something that can rummage. It would be if both Test and Splash Cat made the finals, which, well, not really crazy. Because I wouldn't be surprised if Splash Cat beat Nyx, because Splash Cat and Test built this deck specifically to beat the Lifelink Herald deck, which Nyx is playing. So, but in that case, you have 2 players who built a deck together, and then just both made the finals, which, I don't know, maybe it says something, maybe it says something about how good Test and Splash Cat are as deck builders and players. Maybe it says something that Heart Attack is too good. I don't know, because obviously Heart Attack is a good deck. Maybe they just got lucky in draws and matchups. Maybe Heart Attack is a really bad deck, but it just got lucky and kept getting matched up against good matchups, and then they drew good. I do think Intrepid is it's just so annoying to remove, and it's actually a pretty fast clock in a control deck. And I guess you could just say, play more interactions, play Artifact Tape, play counterspells, but dies to removal isn't a very good argument when it's just a card that's also a tutor, and also in a control deck that has interaction to back it up and, maybe counter your removal if you don't immediately have it. So there's Intrepid. Gate of Realms, I think, is perfectly fine as a card. Heart, I also agree with, perfectly fine as a card. Control decks should be allowed to get mana advantage in the late game. That's not really a bad thing. That's just how control decks function in general. So it looks like Egg is going for lethal, but Test can fire up Intrepid, Gate of Realms the Spire, which means, so if Test does that, they win, get into finals, and I'm really sure Test will, see how to do that. Gate of Realms hits Spire. Yeah, Egg doesn't even attack with Princess Stars. Dragon's Breath, Throat Singer, probably just passing. And this, I believe, is lethal. No, it's not lethal. Test is going to Portal Fracture the Dragon's Breath Throat Singer, and Test can deal 3 damage to Egg, but that would involve firing up Intrepid. Wait, actually, does Test have lethal? Because Test does actually have lethal here, because stand unassailable on its own is lethal, so Egg has to block that, but Intrepid plus Gate of Realms is also lethal. So, yeah, Egg definitely made a mistake there by not attacking with Princess Stars, because it would... No, that's not a mistake, because then... It was a mistake to fire up the creature lands, and leaving up Princess Stars is perfectly fine to block, stand unassailable, but you do really want that creature lands to block the unassailable as well. But, yeah, Egg is right in saying that they never found another dragon. Pretty unlucky draws from Egg at the very end there, though Test obviously had some good counter spells. Yeah, so Test is in finals, which means we have one of two Sultai Heart Attack decks in finals. We'll see if it'll be 2 out of 2 when Splash Cat and Nyx play.